question on today. What if nobody loved you? Okay. What if nobody loved you? Okay. Now check this out. Okay. This might not be realistic to say that nobody loves you. Okay. Boy, sometimes people can be put in situations where the effect is as if nobody loves you. Okay. Because the people that do love you, they're not saying, they're not reaching out, they're not talking to you. You don't have access to them. They don't have time for you, or you don't have time to talk to them, or so on and so forth. Okay, and the persecution you may be experiencing could be so high, or people could be just distancing themselves, or whatever. You could find yourself in a place where you have to face that worst case scenario. Okay, see, a lot of people, especially in Christianity, they tell you about these always gonna get love from nobody. Okay, now check this out. Okay, see, I usually preach on the other side of this same issue. Okay, I preach on the side of encouragement. I preach on the side of encouraging others to love others. I preach on the side of encouraging others to not abandon each other. I usually preach on that side. Sometimes I preach on the isolation side. I gotta preach on both sides. I gotta preach on the side where, check this out, some people are isolated, you need to build strength in the isolation, so I preach on that side so you don't depend on the people to love you. But at the same time, okay, I gotta preach over here and tell the people over here that you don't need to be leaving people out. But the people that are left out, because some people still gonna be left out, okay, they need to learn how to stand on their own, okay, while they're in that situation as good as they can, okay? So when you're in that situation, okay, it's a good time to clean out your closet. It's a good time to look at yourself. It's a good time to pull back and see what's really going on in your heart, okay? Because a lot of people, if they're honest, okay, they don't make enough time to see what's really going on in their own heart and their own mind. Some people fill their time with so many people that they don't even know who they are. They don't even know what they like. They don't even know what they're like. They don't even know what's going on. They don't even know if they really are connected to God or not. They don't know the degree of their relationship with the Lord or not. They don't even know the degree of their relationship with themselves. Some people don't even love themselves. Some people don't know if they love themselves because they're not with themselves enough to know themselves to begin with. Okay? So it presents an opportunity. Okay? It presents an opportunity. Get to know yourself. Get to know yourself. It talks about in David's time in 1st, 2nd Samuel. Okay? David was in a situation. Okay? Where David had to encourage himself. Everything else, okay, was going wrong. All his people turned against him, okay? The people that was following him, they were ready to kill him, okay? Because what was going on with some of the battles they were facing. It was right before he became king. He became king when he was 30 years old. Right before that time, okay, he had to encourage himself, okay? He had to encourage himself. So sometimes when you're in that situation, you can't rely on somebody else's encouragement, okay? You got to encourage yourself. Okay, and when you're encouraging yourself and you're looking at the skeletons in your own closet, you can look at yourself. Sometimes there's situations where you see how you did what's happening to you to other people. Okay, sometimes you see what's happening to you reflected in other people and what they're doing to you now. Sometimes you reaping what you already sowed. Sometimes you living righteous and you're being tested. Okay, but this is one of the tests that make and break people. Okay, this is one of the tests that make and break people. But some of the best gift that God can give some people is isolation. And one of the worst tricks sometimes the devil can give you is acceptance. Y'all never heard this before. A lot of people ain't preaching like this because they ain't living in these contexts and these ways to be able to figure out that these things are really going on. So one of the tricks of the devil is acceptance. If the devil can get somebody that ain't good for you to accept you and befriend you, okay, then you friendship with the world. What is friendship with the world? Enmity with God. Okay? So sometimes the people around you and their acceptance and wanting to keep their acceptance can pull you away from God's path for your own individual life. And sometimes those people falling away from you could be one of the best things that happened to you in your life. Okay? So when you're in these times of isolation, it's time to search inward. It's time to search upward and search inward and deepen that connection. Listen out for what the Lord is saying. Listen out for what the Lord is doing, okay? A lot of people, they had these worship songs talking about, I'm a friend of God, I'm a friend of God. That title was given to Abraham, okay? That title was given to Abraham, being a friend with God,
okay? But when you in isolation, okay, you can build yourself and individually in this time be on the precipice of actually being a friend of God because you're really spending time with him and getting to know him, okay? When you in these times of isolation, okay? So now check this out. This ain't to say that isolation is always the way. I'm not saying that at all, but sometimes you may get yourself in that situation. And I keep hearing people saying, oh, okay, well, I can't do it if I don't have a group around me. You'll be surprised the amount of people that will say, hey, you know, I got drunk, I got wasted, I did this, all because I wasn't around people, okay? That's not an adequate excuse, okay? Because you may come to a situation where you don't feel no love anywhere around you, but you gotta be prepared for that. Because when they talk about in the Bible, they talk about us being persecuted, us being hated for his name's sake, okay? And you gotta be prepared if that situation happens to you. If it's around you, okay, you still gotta follow your principles that God put in you. You use these principles to drive you. You divide your time. You look for other community, okay, in the time where you feel like nobody loves you. You still look for other community. You look for places where you can make an impact, and not only make an impact, but make a friend, okay? You look for these places, just like the disciples, when they dusted when they got the dust off their feet and moved on to the next town. You may have to move on to another town. It may not even be another city what that another town means in your specific situation. It may be you just have to go to another church, or you have to go to another group. It may mean you have to just focus on going to restaurants and meeting people in marketplaces, meeting people in just random interactions on the street, or random interactions in a booth or a bar, any of these things, because there are certain particular places where people have to interact with you because it's their job. And it's up to you to do something with that and make that a meaningful connection. You can use these connections to get you by. Use these connections to get you by, and then you go back and you seek and you develop roots and you get strong in your time of isolation. That's how you use it. You divide it. You don't become hard-hearted. You don't become bitter. You use the time to look for people that you can love, okay? But also look to love yourself in God while you're in these times. And when you do that, you can be productive in the times where you feel like nobody loves you all around you. Sometimes you need to just call people. Sometimes you need to reach out to people that's not reaching out to you. Sometimes the people that's not reaching out to you feel just as bad as you do. That's the reason why they're not reaching out to you. Sometimes you can do that. There's all kind of things you can do when you're in this situation. But when you find yourself in this situation, don't lose hope. Don't fret. Because what this means is that God is entrusting you with a big battle. Because he don't entrust all his soldiers to high-level battles, okay? The greater tier of a vessel you are, the harder your battle's gonna be. The greater tier of vessel you are, the harder your trial's gonna be. So if you get in these situations, okay, count it as joy because the Lord trusts you. Count it as joy because the Lord made you strong enough to endure it. And if you put in this time and you're a true Christian, you're already strong because he put you in a situation where this is one of the most difficult, dangerous times in human history to be a true Christian. And he put you here. He put you here for a reason if you're a true Christian and you following the way that the Lord teaches in this time. That's my message on the day. You take care.